Choice Hotels get you more of what you value. Here's a little tune to help you remember. Same drive, different day. Don't you wish you were getting away? Pack your bags and come on through. Texas, Ohio, Alaska, we're up there too. Comfort Inn, it's calling your name. Save on the stay. Oh, and free waffles are yours to claim. Well, I hope you like my little song. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
And we're live on match day as Doug reaches for a buffalo wing. He's got it! Oh, and he's gone for a can of Pepsi too! What a finish! There's no doubt about it. It just tastes better. Match days deserve Pepsi.
On today's Film and Whiskey, we are walking through every movie in our upcoming Season 11 lineup, and we're trying a new whiskey from Penelope. That's all ahead on Film and Whiskey.
Esta noche, la espera termina. Operación Triunfo llega a Telemundo. Miles respondieron al llamado.
Este es mi destino.
Pero solo unos pocos llegarán a la Gala Cero.
Aquí todo el mundo está ready. Aquí hay nivel.
¿Quiénes serán los elegidos?
Me voy a ganar mi lugar en la Gala Cero.
Descúbrelo en el gran estreno de Operación Triunfo Estados Unidos. Esta noche a las 7:06 Centro por Telemundo y Peacock.
Welcome to a new era of baseball's great spectacle, the T-Mobile Home Run Derby, live on Netflix. The biggest sluggers in baseball put their talents to the test on All-Star Weekend. Raw power meets star power. Big swagger meets bigger slams. And you don't swing to make contact. You swing to make history. Watch the T-Mobile Home Run Derby live on Netflix this Monday, July 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome into the Film and Whiskey podcast. I'm Bob Book.
I'm Brad G.
Yeah, you are. And we are back for another special bonus episode. We have had to fill much time in between seasons 10 and 11 with bonus episodes, and we're not done yet, folks, because even though this is a season 11 preview, we may come up with a couple more bonus episodes to whet your appetite in between seasons here. But Brad, we're here with a very specific task today. We're going to walk through the season 11 lineup, which we've been teasing to our audience for a little while. We've given them some context about what this season is going to involve. I think it's worth revisiting and kind of worth walking through again what the format of season 11 looks like. So before we get into this list of, I guess, technically 12 films, Brad, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about what we've come up with for season number 11?
Yeah, if you guys have been listening for any amount of time, you would know that we do 32 movies in a season, and then we throw them all in a bracket and decide what is the greatest film of this year. This season, we are taking our Let's Make It a Double concept, and we're just running with it. We have picked 10 movies that kind of fill in the gaps a little bit on some famous movies we haven't seen yet. But instead of picking a full 32 movies, we're going to use our Let's Make It a Double segment to pick the next two movies. Now, sometimes we might pick the next two movies based on the movie we just watched. Sometimes we might just pick one and then let the Let's Make It a Double for that second one be the third movie. But we're essentially going to be watching them in little 3-movie bundles. And I think we'll throw in an extra one for Thanksgiving and Christmas as our 31 and 32.
Yeah. I honestly, thank you to the folks that invented Thanksgiving and Christmas, because it really helped us out with filling out our 32 movies here. We were only at 30 movies. But yeah, I'm really excited about this season because it combines my love of planning ahead with the podcast's biggest quality, which is spontaneity.
Yeah.
So there's just enough chaos thrown into this where I'm making sure that we watch 10 classic movies, but who knows where we go from there. Brad, while we talk about our lineup today, we are going to be drinking a whiskey from our friends over at Penelope. This is the first release in their Architects of Golf series. Now, if you know anything about golf, Brad, there are 18 holes in a golf course.
No.
which means that though this is but release number 1, there will be 17 more of these coming out over the next who knows how long from Penelope. I have to say, even before we dive in, I love this branding.
Dude.
You can't quite see it on video, but it's got that nice like antique paper feel to the front of it, where I just kind of like want to run my fingernails along it. So I might just be doing this for like a little stim throughout the episode. This looks real naughty on camera as I do it.
Yep.
But
Don't mess around with that, Bob.
It is what it is, man.
We don't talk about golf very often on the podcast. I'm a terrible golfer. I do think that one of the absolute greatest stand-up comedy bits of all time is Robin Williams talking about the creation of golf. Have you ever heard this?
I don't think I've ever seen that. No.
Oh man. I mean, he goes through every little bit of like these crazy Scottish guys creating golf together. And, you know, he's like, oh, and every time you hit it, you think you're going to have a stroke. That's what we'll call it. We'll call it a stroke. It is absolutely one of the greatest bits of all time. So if you're drinking a little Penelope of their Architects of Golf, you could do a lot worse than listening to Robin Williams stand up talking about the creation of golf.
Well, now, since we're on this topic, we might as well just go ahead and dive into our whiskey review. We don't really have much of an agenda here today, so let's pivot. Let's talk about the Architects of Golf. I'm going to read a little bit of the PR email we got, the press release announcing this. So as I said, the Architects of Golf collection is Penelope's newest venture. There will be 18 bottles in this collection correlating to holes on the golf course. But the fun thing they're doing with each release is that each hole is going to be differentiated by the time and intensity of the finishing process. And they're using different kinds of oak staves to finish each release. So the first 3 bottles that are coming out in this collection, holes 1, 2, and 3, were all bottled at 94 proof. And it says they aim to highlight how finishing techniques can evolve a bourbon's profile within a single collection. Now, this is a 6-year aged bourbon. As I said, 94 proof. We know that Penelope works with MGP, and their stuff has always been delicious. I would still say perhaps my favorite thing that I've ever had from them, aside from their very first 4-grain release back in like 2019, is that Penelope rosé finish. It's so good. I just really, really love that rosé finish. So I'm looking forward to trying this Architects of Golf.
I gave that rosé finish to my neighbor, who was like, yeah, like I like whiskey, but I'm a little bit more of a beer guy. And I was like, oh, dude, just, here's a bottle. Like I've got so much. Yeah. Enjoy it. This was like 4 years ago that I gave it to him. Just the other day, he goes, you know what I still have down in my basement? That Penelope rosé that you gave me. It's good stuff, man. I was like, you still have that?
It's so good that he doesn't ever drink it. It's his special occasion whiskey.
It must be.
Yeah, man. All right, cool. Let's dive into trying this Architects of Golf. First thing I have to say is that the color on this bad boy is pretty staggering. So maybe, Brad, while you give your nosing notes, I'll do a little Googling and we'll see how long the staves were finishing on this one.
Yeah, the nose on this is incredible, Bob. I think it has like cotton candy. It's got like this really nice effervescence to it. It gives me a little bit of cherry. I don't know. Does it give a mash bill on this?
Not that I see, but again, okay. I'm furiously Googling over here, so I may find some more info. Yeah,
it gives me a little bit of a cherry vibe. There's that cotton candy and almost like an almond liqueur on the back end of nosing it for me. Really nice. Still has some of the caramely vanilla notes, but like a really pleasant, not overwhelming, sweet nose that I think is really good, Bob.
Now, I will say, there may be more info out there that I could have found, but I went directly to their website because whatever they want the average consumer to know, they're going to put on their own site because most people aren't receiving press releases. So all I know about this is it says it's a 2-grain mash, which I don't think is true because then as you scroll down, it says mash bill, 60% corn, 30% rye, 36% rye, 4% barley. That seems like more than 1 grain. Or more than 2 grains to me, unless we're not counting
might say
is a grain. Yeah.
It's 3 grains.
It's 3 grains. It does not say how long the staves were finished in this one. So again, that's all we know about it. I'm going to give some nosing notes now, Brad, but what is your score on the nose here?
I'd give it a 7.5. I think it's really solid.
Okay, all of the notes that you gave, I think, are here. There's a really, really deep vanilla extract on this. There's a little bit of kind of light. It's very airy. It reminds me of being by the ocean, like that kind of sea breeze, like saltiness in the air. There's a little bit of saline to it. But then you ever have a white peach? Not like a regular peach, but like the flesh of the peach is white. It reminds me of that a lot, like a really, really delicate floral peachy character to this. I like this quite a bit, and I'm pretty pumped to try it because it smells like a summertime bourbon. I'm going to give it an 8.5 on the nose.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to come up a little bit on the palate. I think that cotton candy explodes into this like really rich vanilla cake frosting vibe with a lot of caramel underneath. The almonds stick around. And it almost gets a little bit of like a coconutty essence to it that I'm here for, man. I'm going to give this an 8.5 on the palate.
I think that there's definitely pros and cons on the palate here. As I take my second sip, there's the front of palate is like a really decadently sweet. You're right, like almost buttercream frosting kind of note to me. There is that sort of toasted coconut. It plays really well with that peach note that I got on the nose. It's definitely like a beach sipper for me. But as you take it to the back of your palate, it does turn just a little bit bitter, and it has those sort of toasted oak notes that I don't always love, which extracts some of that more tannic bitterness out of the oak. So I think that front of palate's beautiful. Back of palate's still really nice, and there's definitely some warmth. There's some baking spice. There's some vanilla. It comes down just a hair for me. And I think I'll also mention here that at 94 proof, it's a really crushable whiskey, to use a phrase that we like. But I do find it just a touch too thin on the mouthfeel. Like it doesn't have quite enough body or viscosity, because you can kind of you could like slam this back and it doesn't really put up any resistance. You know what I mean? It doesn't make you like chew on it at all. So it's good, but it's just a hair of a step down for me on the palate. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10.
I think, I don't know if I said it, I'll give it an 8.5 on the palate. I think finish-wise, it comes back into just a really nice bourbon experience. The baking spices are there, like you said. I don't get the bitterness that you're talking about, Bob. I'll go on record to let Film and Whiskey Nation know that I think this has a nice viscosity for where it's at 94 proof. Like you're not expecting a 110 plus bomb here. I think that the finish has the baking spices. It's got the caramel. For me, the oakiness is like a really nice, gentle oak, and it's not overbearing and overpowering the rest of the experience. I'll drop down a little bit, but I'll still give it an 8 out of 10 on the finish.
Yeah, I'll kind of amend my palate with a little bit of a higher score on the finish here. I'll give it an 8 out of 10 on finish. I do think that second, third sip, that bitterness I got on my very first sip has kind of evened out a little bit. And it almost reminds me of like a cherry Coke or a vanilla Coke on the finish. There's like that sort of Coca-Cola effervescence to it. It's really nice.
Vanilla Coke back in the day. Oh,
it hits, dude.
So good, dude.
Real good.
I haven't had that in over a decade, probably.
It's good stuff, man. And so I'm going to come up to an 8 out of 10 on the finish. On balance, I think I'll also be, I might give this an 8.5 on balance. This is a really good whiskey for a 94 proofer. We very rarely get anything in that 90 to 95 proof range to try anymore. And sometimes you just need that like solid, everyday drinker kind of whiskey. And this really is that. So I'm going to give it an 8.5 on balance.
I think I'm at an 8 out of 10 on balance. I think all of it is really good. None of it like really stands out to me and blows my socks off, but it's still an 8 out of 10 on balance. It's a really well-balanced experience that has lots of nice, decadent, sweet flavors and just enough depth of spice to make it a really well-rounded experience.
All right, and that takes us to value. Now, what I'm seeing online is that MSRP on this is $60. Ooh. If you had told me 4 or 5 years ago you're going to be paying $60 for a 6-year MGP product, I'd be like, that's exorbitant. But that's kind of just the market that we're in now. And, we have a good friend of show that informed us that his kind of baseline is $10 per year of aging. And that falls right in line with this. Do I think that, like, if you just asked me how much would you pay for this 94 proof whiskey based on the taste, I'm like, this is a really good $45 bottle. 60 is like just barely pushing it. But I'll also say that I really enjoyed this. So I'm still going to come out to, let's call it I'll give it an 8 out of 10 on value.
That's right where I'm at. 8 out of 10 on value, Bob. I think that this is a great product that, yes, $48.99 would be like a killer price for this. Even $53 would be like, all right, we're talking a good value here. 8 out of 10.
That's such a specific number. Even $53, not 54.
Hey man,
but 53
when it comes to my. So I'm a spreadsheet kind of guy, Bob.
I like it.
I think at $60, it's an 8 out of 10. That is bringing me out to a 40 out of 50, Bob.
I'm at a 40.5, Brad, which I'm going to be honest with you. When we first cracked this 94 proof whiskey, I didn't know if we'd hit the 40 mark on this. So we're at an 80.5 out of 100 or a 40.25 on average. Now, for context, 35 out of 50 is where we typically start recommending that you buy a bottle. 40 out of 50 is basically a no-brainer for us. So while this isn't hitting the absolute transcendent heights that like a 90 out of 100 would be, this is one of the higher scores we've given in quite a while. If you're looking for a really good summertime bourbon to sip, I really can't think of anything better to smuggle onto the golf course with you than this Penelope Architects of Golf.
Yeah, this is a great summer crusher. Like this is very crushable, very delicious. And for $60, like I think you're getting a really great value here. I think
Speaking of crushable, Brad.
Well, I think my only question for you is, do you think that the finish in the hole number 1 or hole number 2 is better? I'm just curious.
Oh, man. Do I love doing this show with you, Brad?
Well, all right.
Well, speaking of crushability.
Once they get past the first 3 holes, they're safe for the rest of the
I was going to say, there's no more jokes that we could really make at that point. But for now, they've got a couple more coming their way. Brad, it's time for us to talk about season number 11. And I think that, we've given the format here. Let's go ahead and start introducing the 10 movies that we have selected and kind of why we arrived at those points. And I'll kick us off here with our opening movie, which is it is in fact the newest movie on this list. It's 2004's The Incredibles. Now, if that gives you any indication that that's the newest movie we're doing, we're really reaching back into classic film for this season.
22 years old is our newest film.
Yeah, man. And there's an element of it that's like, okay, this is a Pixar movie. We're not talking about a classic of world cinema that all the critics have lined up behind. But first of all, it's a great movie. Second of all, it does kind of help us with a 21st century film. It fills in a big Pixar gap. We've reviewed most of the classic Pixar films. And it also, it gives us a good entry into watching an action blockbuster. I don't know if people always think about The Incredibles as an action blockbuster, but when you watch the movie, it is one of the better action films of the 21st century. I think Brad Bird did an incredible job on that movie. And I'm excited to do it as our first film of the season.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for The Incredibles. That came out like right in our teenage heyday. So it's going to be a fun one to review. We are moving way back into the distant past for our next film. Although it will not be the oldest film we review this season.
No.
We are looking back at 1933's King Kong. And Bob,
yeah.
I gotta say, man, I remember watching this as a kid. Like my dad had it on VHS, and I remember watching it as a kid and thinking it was just one of the coolest movies ever. And so I am so excited to come back to this film.
Yeah, I am too. It's one of those movies that as you watch the acting in the movie, the guy that plays Carl Denham, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but like the line deliveries are very wooden. The reason this movie is a classic is because of what it does in the realm of visual effects. And you're talking about stop motion animation from some of the greats. in a way that that's a completely lost art form now. Like nobody does stop motion unless it's Leica Studios. And so I'm excited to go back to 1933 and look at what audiences got as their sort of quote unquote summer blockbusters, but especially what were the cutting edge of visual effects back in the day, and to see what two movies we pick off of that, jumping off point.
So that took us all the way back to 1933. We're moving back even further for our next selected movie. We're going back to Buster Keaton, somebody we have not watched on this podcast yet, and yet is probably one of the most famous names in cinematic history. We're going to be looking at 1926's The General, a movie I know maybe 1% about, and that's that Buster Keaton is in it.
There you go. I won't give too much of the plot away then. I want you to kind of go into this completely fresh. Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, and by this point, Harold Lloyd were the three biggest comedic stars in silent cinema. And we've done very few silent...
That's like Harold and Kumar, right?
Exactly. Harold, yes, okay. From Harold and Kumar. Their trip to White Castle was actually in a Model T Ford in that movie. Okay. It's
perfect.
Exciting stuff, man. It takes them 7 hours to get there. So at this time, 1926, those were the three biggest names in comedy. We haven't really done a lot of silent films on the podcast. I mean, the movies are 100 years old now, and this movie is exactly 100 years old. So it's going to be fun to kind of look at what cinema looked like 100 years ago. But also, Buster Keaton was one of the more ambitious filmmakers in Hollywood by this point. He had as much cachet as Charlie Chaplin did, and he coordinated all of his own stunts. He's helping with the direction of this film. And it's basically a huge, epic movie with one guy doing comedy in the middle of it. And it, to this day, is like one of the most extraordinary documents of silent cinema. I kind of just wanted us to go back and do a silent movie, but also Buster Keaton is a huge blind spot for us on this show. Yep. And our only exposure to silent movies has basically been Charlie Chaplin. So the fun thing for me was that you didn't love all of Chaplin's movies the way I do. So I'm excited to see how you respond to Buster Keaton and his more physical performing style.
Yeah, I'm very excited to get into that and see where it goes. Because like you said, something I've never seen before. I have heard spoken of very illustriously. And so I'm jacked to get there, dude. I'm excited.
All right, man. That takes us to a completely different kind of pivot, but not too different because it's a movie set during the Great Depression. So just a few years after the release of The General, we're looking at 1967's Bonnie and Clyde. This is one of the more revolutionary movies in the history of Hollywood, both in the way the movies actually cut together. It's just a completely new type of movie in the late 60s. And it really does kick off this wave of what's called the New Hollywood. Brad and I were talking on another bonus episode recently about this great book called Pictures at a Revolution by Mark Harris, where he looks at, I think, five movies from the year 1967, because that really was the year that everything changed in Hollywood. And so he looks at all of the Best Picture nominees from that year and talks about whether they're like on the cutting edge or whether they represented the old Hollywood that would be dead within a year. Bonnie and Clyde is usually held up as kind of like the example of this new style of filmmaking. But you have other movies like In the Heat of the Night. And I think that there's a lot of directions we could go at the end of this episode, whether it's, hey, I want to watch more bank robber movies or more movies set in the Great Depression. Or maybe we just say, let's watch some more 1967 movies and look at what Hollywood looks like after this kind of chaotic year of these young artists making new types of movies.
Hey, I like your new RAV4.
Thanks, yours too.
What does RAV stand for anyway?
To me, it's the Remarkably Advanced Vehicle.
Really? To me, it's the Runway Approved Vehicle for its amazing style.
What about Remarkably Adaptable Vehicle because of its versatile cargo space?
Or Really Admired Vehicle?
Oh, or Really Awesome Vehicle.
It really is the Recreational Activity Vehicle. The stylish 2026 Toyota RAV4 Limited. What's your RAV4?
Need a laptop that's built to perform and designed to last all day? Select Windows 11 PCs starting at $499.99 are now at Best Buy. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
Yeah. Once again, Bonnie and Clyde. movie I know almost nothing about, but I know is held up as a very famous movie in cinematic history. So I'm very excited for that. I think I'm a little more excited for our next film. And I know I shouldn't be. We are coming all the way up to 1995 to watch Seven.
We're watching David Fincher's Seven, which I still don't like the spelling of. Yeah, because you have S-E, the number 7, E-N. That is the official name of this movie.
It's like when somebody says, like we're going to go watch MLB baseball. And you're like,
right.
So you're going to watch Major League Baseball?
We're watching Seven from 1995. This is just the bleakest film. And I have to say, last year, Regal was doing kind of like a one-day only release of a whole bunch of different movies. And I went to the movie theater and saw Seven because it might still be my favorite Fincher. It's really close. It's that or Zodiac. And the oppressive environment of this movie, you need to be in a theater to fully experience it. I'd seen this movie like 5 times probably before I went and saw it in the theater, and I got a whole new appreciation for it. So, Brad, barring the fact that someone decides to release it so you can see it in the theater, I do need you to go into Seven with the most immersive environment you can. Like, turn the lights off, use your headphones, do whatever you can to like lock in, because there's something about the way that movie like seeps into you that you just kind of have to let it, you have to let it wash over you to really appreciate it.
I love when things seep into me.
Hole 1 or hole 2, Brad. So after Seven, we're throwing it back another 20-ish years to the 1974 classic Chinatown, a movie that gives us a lot of interesting opportunities, not the least of which is its director, Roman Polanski, and the weird minefield of talking about Roman Polanski movies in the year of our Lord 2026. So maybe we just watch 3 super controversial filmmaker movies back to back to back. We can throw all of our Woody Allen picks in here that we've never done.
We could put
over
a Kevin
the last 10
Spacey,
seasons either.
Little Glengarry Glen Ross.
Yeah. Why not, dude?
Yeah.
Are you familiar at all with Chinatown?
Other than the fact that Roman Polanski directs it. And is it Duvall or De Niro?
No.
That's in it?
Jack Nicholson.
Oh, it's Nicholson. Okay. Then no, I know nothing about this movie.
I think one of the more surprising things about it, it's a noir movie set in 1930s Los Angeles and made in the 1970s. And I think sometimes when I watch movies from the 70s, I'm reminded of like movies were just on a different pace in the 70s, and audiences had a lot more attention span and patience for movies. This is not one of those movies where you need to kind of go in with that expectation. It feels like it could have been released yesterday. It moves like crazy. It is just, it might be a perfect movie, Brad. Ooh. And I am, perhaps more than any other film on this list, I'm excited to see if it works for you the way it worked for me.
Calling your shot already.
Yeah, it's real good, man.
Well, another movie
Roman Polanski, not perfect, but Chinatown, very, very much so.
He may have created something perfect. Not perfect himself.
Not at all.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. I think that our Thanksgiving and Christmas picks are nearly perfect. I am like so freaking excited for both of them. I'll just spoil them both right now. We are going to be watching Castaway for Thanksgiving and Top Gun for Christmas. And like,
yeah, dude,
is there a better duo?
There is not. I checked. I asked everybody and they all said no.
The only thing that would be better
Castaway?
is if you find out that Tom Cruise shot down Tom Hanks' FedEx plane, which caused him to land on the island.
The only thing better than that is if we got an announcement 26 years after the release of Castaway that they said it was actually Tom Cruise playing Wilson the volleyball. He stuffed himself into a little suit and he played Wilson the whole time.
All for the love of the craft.
Castaway is our Thanksgiving film. I can't believe we've made it almost 400 movies into this podcast and not done Castaway. But that provides us with a really awesome Thanksgiving lineup. And then, Christmas comes right after the film we're going to talk about next, which is 1949's The Third Man. Now, we just came off of Chinatown. We're taking a small 1-week break for Thanksgiving, and then we dive back into this noir film from 1949. Again, maybe a perfect movie. Our friend Daniel Zhuayo is going to join us for that film because The Third Man is his favorite movie of all time. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's a really good pick for a favorite movie of all time. Yeah, dude. And another one of those movies where people who have seen it are like, yeah, that's top 10 all-time movie. Kind of reminds me of like Best Years of Our Lives. Some of these movies from the 40s that we've done where, you got to be like a real ball knower before you see that movie. And then once you have, you're like, why isn't everyone talking about this movie 24/7? It's so good.
What exactly is a ball knower, Bob?
Like the game of basketball when people know the game. This a certified ball knower. He knows ball.
Sure.
You keep trying to steer these very like accepted
Bob,
phrases.
I've never once in my life heard the phrase ball knower.
Well, dude, you didn't grow up on the hard streets of Barberton, Ohio. You were not playing on the blacktops that I was, man.
I don't know if you were playing much basketball either, Bob.
I was not. I am a certified ball knower when it comes to The Third Man, 1949. And then after that 3-week stretch, we get into Cruisemas with Top Gun 1986, a film that I am excited to talk about, and I will say right now, vastly inferior to Top Gun Maverick, Brad.
I agree with that. I didn't grow up with Top Gun, so it's not like a huge nostalgia hit for me. It's like a really fun 7 out of 10 that you and I are going to film a sweaty, glistening volleyball scene to promo.
Yeah,
It's going to be great.
Yep. I'm hitting the Ozempic hard for the next couple months so I can get in shape for that one, Brad.
We gubby.
All right. After that one, that'll be a fun Cruisemas, but then it's time for us to dive back into being sad and depressed at the beginning of January because we're diving into The Deer Hunter from 1978, one of the more sad and crushing films of that stretch of Hollywood history, but an important one. And Brad, when I first asked you, hey, if we're only doing 10 films, is there any film you really would like to do? The Deer Hunter was one of 2 or 3 films that you floated out to me. So I'm really curious. I know you haven't seen it, but why The Deer Hunter instead of any other movie you could have picked?
It feels like I have this giant Vietnam-shaped hole in my movie history, and it seems like something that I need to fix. And The Deer Hunter, Platoon, like all of those were kind of rattling around in my head of like, I should probably see 1 or 2 of those. Because according to our good friend Zachary Johnston, Vietnam occupies like a whole era of Hollywood. It had such a cultural impact. So we got to do it, man.
All right. So we're going to watch 3 straight weeks of Vietnam movies. Thanks so much for that, Brad. And then we're pivoting to another movie that Brad picked, a film that, it reminds me that humans contain multitudes. That Brad G., a man who hated basically every foreign film I ever put in front of him, woke up one day and decided, I love The Bicycle Thieves and I love the next movie on our list. And Brad, I love that for you. I'm excited that you even want to talk about a foreign language film on our podcast. So you can do the honors of go ahead and introing that one for us.
We are talking about a 2000 film that came out of China called In the Mood for Love. And I feel like it is a mixture of like past lives and brief encounters. That it's just this really beautiful, sad story of 2 people who are trying to figure out their lives in a difficult time. And then you get like the majority of the film feels very like slow art housey. And then you just get these wild, weird, dramatic sequences that come out of nowhere and are just like mind-meltingly cool. I will also say one of my favorite movies of all time, Everything Everywhere All at Once, pieces of that film were like directly lifted from In the Mood for Love. So that was actually the main reason I watched it the first time. But I saw it on HBO Max and was like, I'm going to watch that. Why not?
It's pulling teeth to get you to watch the movies on our schedule. And then every now and then you're like, I'm going to go watch this on HBO Max.
I'm going to watch Bicycle Thieves.
He does have free time. I knew it.
It's a rare occurrence. I will say the chances of us also watching Bicycle Thieves in this season, because I'm just going to shoehorn it in as my pick for one of the movies, is pretty high.
Well, if you do that, I'm already telling you now, my next chess move is that the director of the Bicycle Thieves, Vittorio De Sica, he made a movie called Umberto D, and it is a better movie than the Bicycle Thieves. And if you pick the Bicycle Thieves, we're just going to watch Umberto D. So there you go, man.
We should probably pick that for The Incredibles. Be like,
I was going to say.
The Incredibles, the obvious double is Bicycle Thieves. Am I right?
And that leaves us with only one pick left in the season. And of course, if we're going to venture outside the friendly confines of the United States for 3 weeks, then we have to come back with the most patriotic of all films, 1976's Rocky.
That is not true.
Brad?
Rocky IV is the most
patriotic.
Yes, thank you.
If you could change, then I could change. I freaking love it, man. Can we just watch Rocky and then spend the next 2 weeks watching Rocky IV back-to-back weeks?
I'm not opposed. I mean, why not?
Brad, have you seen Rocky, the original Rocky, before?
Oh, yeah. I've probably seen it 2 or 3 times, I would say. I like Rocky a lot. I will say, the way that men and women relate in Rocky is very different than how they relate in 2026. And I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing. It's just an observation I made the last time.
I'm going to say it's a bad thing. I'm going to go with bad thing. I'll also add, I haven't watched Rocky in, 7 or 8 years probably. All I remember is the last time I watched it, I was like, wow, this is really boring. This is a long, boring movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then we watched On the Waterfront again for the podcast. And I was like, oh, not only is it long and boring, it just completely rips off On the Waterfront, including the scene where he breaks into Adrian's apartment, Yep. So
absolutely.
We will see what we think of Rocky at the end of season number 11. And then that, of course, leads us into our patented bracket challenge episodes. Brad, this is going to be a fun season. I went ahead and added up the release dates of all of the movies that we're doing this season and then averaged them out. And we're coming out to a 1974 average. So on average, our movies for this season are over 50 years old, which warms my heart because I feel like we've been going really kind of 21st century heavy lately. So it's nice to get back to some of these more classic films. If you had to pick one movie that you have not seen and that you did not pick for this season that you're most excited for, what's the movie?
I would probably say Seven or The Third Man. Because I've seen The Third Man hover about, film internet space, and I'm like really intrigued by it. Seven has been on my list for a really long time, and I've just never watched it because I knew we would get there eventually. So I think Seven is probably like my most excited.
Oh, good. I can't wait, man. Folks, I hope that you're as excited as we are for season number 11. What I'd really like to hear is which of these movies you are the most excited for. And you can let us know what that is by reaching out to us on any of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube at Film Whiskey.
Or if you want to join the conversation, we are on our Discord pretty often. And we are talking about life and movies and whiskey and all sorts of things. Come join the conversation. You can find a link to our Discord at the end of every single one of our show notes.
We will be back at least one more time in the interim between this episode and the release of season number 11. So you'll be hearing more from us as you prep for the July start of season 11. But until then, I'm Bob Book.
I'm Brad G.
And we'll see you next time.